What's up, everybody? I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com, host of the Sports Card Strategy Show. Welcome to Lefty Cards right here on the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network, discussing the latest trends, best practices, and insider tips on sports card investing. This episode is brought to you by NoOffSeason.com, the number one place to make money flipping sports cards. Get a free 30-day trial today at NoOffSeason.com. And now, everybody, it's time for Lefty Cards.
There we go. What's up, everybody? We are back and live, and it is time for Lefty Cards from the NoOffSeason.com partnership. We are a family here, and we love what we do. I'm excited. I'm live because, as you can see behind me, starting at 6:45, the FC Cincinnati versus NYCFC playoff game has begun, and we are down to the tournament. This is our first game of the offseason, or of the postseason, and I don't think we're going to win very many this postseason, so I'm going to enjoy this one because I think this is the last one that we can enjoy, because the next round could potentially be against the Columbus Crew, the next round could be against Inter Miami, and then the next round could be against LAFC for it all. All three of those teams way better than we are, so don't stand a chance. Other than that, it's live. It's 0-0. We're 6 minutes into the game, and I told Turner, if anything crazy happens behind me, just tune me in. All right, so for those of you guys that have been following along, we have been instructed not to mention a certain quarterback anymore because he's a third stringer, and we will not mention his name any longer, other than there's a new guy in town named Jag Kegs Lamus, and if you're following along, he is now the number one quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And for those of you that are interested in what's going on, this Sunday he beat Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens of all people. And so these bangers are all been listed, and they have currently already cleared our initial investment. Both Turner and I are in the green already, and I have days left on my auctions, and it's already going good. Other than that, that's all I'll mention of Jab Kegs Lamus. And we're not going to mention the old quarterback from that we used to talk about that was third string. This is the first string guy. So
Lamus Jinston was that
yeah,
guy's
Lamus
name.
Jinston was the other guy's name. We're just going to jab legs came at Lamus. And all of our cards are already over on bids, and that's all I will say about that. Turner Schaus, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Ready to talk sports cards as usual with you, and I'm pretty pumped about today.
How was that intro? Was that a high energy?
Oh, that was perfect. I mean,
are we going to have to turn the gain down? People just are people's ears bleeding at this point?
I have no idea. I'm seeing an injury over here. Someone just
got
on deck.
That's okay. They're fake injuries. They're fake injuries. Yeah. It's soccer.
I forgot that it's soccer.
Yeah,
so 95% of the plays that go on the ground normally are.
You're making somebody mad right now, so I'll just cut you off. So, going forward, Turner, we are talking about current events outside of soccer. But what we are not talking about today is the Ballon d'Or, which happened today. And Rodri, of all people, was in a controversial finish of a Ballon d'Or champion that Vinny Jr. arguably should have won. We're not going to necessarily mention that today, but Vinny Jr.'s cards could have seen a spike today had he won the Ballon d'Or. And I believe since Real Madrid has also lost to Barcelona this weekend in the El Clasico, 4-0, by the way. Lamine Yamal, we'll start there. What an absolute banger of a player. This guy is going crazy as a 17, 18-year-old, and it easily won Newcomer of the Year in FIFA. He was there in the Ballon d'Or or in the end of year season awards. Very excited about his future, and I still have cards for him at PSA because I think his darling day is not quite upon us yet. I think we've seen good days from him, but there will be good days in the future for Lamine Yamal. Any thoughts in terms of soccer range? I know that I don't even know if you're even aware of what I was just talking about. Just, you got anything for us here?
No.
All right. All right. So we're just going to jump right on ahead. Say hello to Joel Kaplan. What's up, my man? Let's talk about some new Bowman Chrome University football. I know Turner has that in his locker. You got anything from there?
I didn't even know that it was getting released. The main thing that I knew about that was getting released is Prism draft picks, football and basketball are coming out soon for 2024. So I've been locked into that. I think Prism draft picks football should be coming out in about 2 days. So I'm locked into that, but will also be locked in on Bowman Chrome University football. So I need to see whenever that comes out.
Yeah, go ahead and check that checklist while I'm talking about some other things that we're talking about today. But also, you know of a guy that's in draft picks that you are particularly excited about.
Oh yeah. They haven't released a checklist yet, which kind of stinks because I wanted to look through and see what athletes are on there, but they did preview at least a manga version, manga, whatever you call it, of Julian Sayin, the freshman quarterback from Ohio State, who will be playing, pretty sure next year for the Buckeyes. Of course, he's the backup right now, but he coming out of high school, he was one of the top quarterbacks, and Ohio State's got a young offense right now, and they're going to be loaded in the future. So I'm real pumped to invest in some Julian Sayin.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that too. I know that now there is another guy that I'm extremely excited about potentially getting some cards, and that is Texas A&M's new running quarterback who has no cards out right now. But this guy's name, Marcel Reed, is electric. He came in and destroyed in the second half of this LSU game, and I could not have been more excited. I texted you and Paul, and I said I have to have some Marcel Reed cards when they come out. I saw a TikTok of a LSU fan that was like, who's this guy coming in? Oh, okay, they're switching quarterbacks. We're done now. And like 5 minutes later, it was just a compilation of his reactions per watching the game live. And at the very end, I'm like, and he goes, why do the Texas A&M Aggies have a Heisman quarterback on their bench? He's like, what the heck is this? And but that's kind of how I felt leaving the game. I was like, this guy, Marcel Reed, is just dynamic. And you're like, oh, surely he can't throw the ball. And then he throws a dot like 60 yards down the field. Kirk Herbstreit talks about him being just an incredible freshman quarterback at his son's high school. They went to the same high school, and he said, I've been watching this guy, and the crazy thing about it is that at Montgomery Bell Academy in high school, he could throw the ball as well. And we hadn't seen that yet, but when that comes out, this guy's definitely going to be worth some card investments. Can guarantee you that. So two college quarterbacks that Turner and I are on the lookout for over the next 12 months, which we made good money on college quarterbacks this year. So we've made better money this year overall on college quarterbacks from the three of us than we have NFL quarterbacks in percentage, at least. Like our big NFL quarterbacks have sold for more dollar amounts, but for the most part, the three of us have made better transaction and quicker transactions on college quarterbacks that we invested in the offseason. So
yeah,
I'm sure
better than NFL, which is crazy.
So I'm sure that'll be a good thing for us going forward as we continue to research and hone what we do. I'm sure we will be more interested in looking at what college quarterbacks are doing in the offseason. So when Marcel Reed gets the starting nod here, I'm sure he'll get the starting nod, at least maybe not immediately, but he'll definitely get a lot more playing time this year. Connor Wigman is definitely going to be on his way out, and I like this guy, Marcel Reed. Okay. Let's get off of talking about college football for a second. And I want to talk about something that you guys know is near and dear to my heart before we jump into Turner time. Before we go into baseball, I want to talk about what we're going to talk about is justbaseball.com.
Hey,
go ahead.
Marcel Reed is in 2024 Bowman Chrome University football. So, and it's coming out tomorrow at noon. And it's the release date.
My word.
Yeah.
Turner, am I about to drop a fat dime on Marcel Reed cards?
You need to. Might as well.
Oh, my heart fluttered. Okay, so Texas A&M, absolutely my favorite team of all time. I just I don't know if you have noticed recently, but Lord, we all bleed maroon. So no matter who your fandom is, you bleed maroon. All right. So as you guys know, I have worked for Just Baseball in the past. I'm definitely very close with Aram, Colby, Pete, and the guys out there. Love what they're doing. They posted their top 100 prospect 2024 final update with the Arizona fall numbers in there, and I definitely want to talk about some of the guys that they have been added to the top 100 list. I think it's valuable to look at some of their card data as well. And then we will look at some of the guys that, and I'll show you how I am particularly going to invest in baseball players this offseason. But before that, let's jump to our first commercial from nooffseason.com.
What's up, everyone? I'm Paul Hickey with nooffseason.com. Why should you subscribe to nooffseason.com's premium membership? Do you like the content on this show? Want more? Well, a free 30-day trial membership at nooffseason.com gives you a Friday edition of the Sports Card Strategy Show called The Overflow Show. It's a premium podcast for members only every Friday, and you can ask an unlimited amount of questions to build your sports card investment portfolio, and I answer them for you. I put in the work, research, and do the analysis, give you the best possible answer so you can increase your chances of making money flipping sports cards. And if that's not enough reason to sign up for a free 30-day trial today, you get Sports Card School, tons of premium members-only articles, and our new formula-based sports card rankings to help you find the cards with the best ROI to make money in the hobby. Sign up today at nooffseason.com.
All right. Definitely, I love what Paul's doing down there at nooffseason.com. I'm a big fan. Also, I am also part of the team. We love the formula. We love what we're ramping up, and we love what we're putting out right now. The premium content, I will say, the premium podcast is one of the best informational podcasts in the hobby that you can get. So it's only for premium members only, but I'll tell you, it's so worth it. We want to be able to answer some of the best quality questions that you have, and we're answering them directly from you. And so we want to be able to put high quality content out there, and it is something that we strive really hard to do. All right, back to Just Baseball's top 100 list that they just released over on the 24th, I believe. Yes, it has been updated by Aram on the 24th of this month, and since it's the 28th of this month, it's a fairly relevant topic right now. But I wanted to share a couple of things about the top 100 in general from justbaseball.com. We actually have seen that they updated. Let me add this to, oh my goodness. We have got a technical difficulty. Okay. We have seen that they added this graphic to their Twitter yesterday where we've got a new graphic. The graphics team is always state of the art, but the top 100 newcomers, we have four pitchers and 3 hitters, but I wanted to give some soft analysis on these guys because as I've looked through their stats and I've looked through their card data, these 6 specifically, I wanted to give card data on because they are newcomers to the list. I have people asking me all the time, Kendall, who's the next guy you're looking for? Who's the guy in the bargain bin? Like, when are we going to be buying XYZ? I'm going to answer some of those questions and kind of bring forward some baseball content that we haven't talked about in a while and how I bring some of that data forward. So if you're looking at this baseball top 100 newcomers list, all these guys are in different ranks on the listing, and they don't show the rankings here, but these are the guys that are new to the list. So I want, out of these 6 that you're looking at here, the picture is obviously Demetrio Crisantes, but I wanted to see, out of these 6 guys, does any of these guys stick out to you, Turner, and guys you want to know about?
I guess we can start with Dodgers pitcher Jackson Ferris, and
right.
and your guy Rosario from the Rangers.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, the Rangers have been able to put out some high quality pitchers over the last couple of years, and they have the highest number of prospects in their development stage that are high on the MLB and Just Baseball's top 100 than they've ever had in the entire time I have been relevantly watching prospects. They've always been bad at developing pitchers, but as we've seen lately, they've had some pitchers that are worth some money. Earlier this year, we made some money on Kumar Rocker because we got in before he ended up getting to the MLB, and then he was able to show off well in his first little MLB appearance. And I do think he will also show off well next year, so I think we can go back to the well there. But as far as Alejandro Rosario is concerned, he does not have licensed Bowman cards as of right now. He has some Leaf and some USA cards right now because he is simply 22 years old, but he's at high A, but he's pitching really well at high A. His ERA is a 2.4, and he's got a 13.06 K per nine. I don't think he will be a guy worth investing in, so I'm just going to jump onto Jackson Ferris as well. Jackson Ferris is younger, but he's higher up in the Dodger system. He's all the way in Double-A. When we look at his innings pitched, he's only pitched in 7 games at Double-A, but he's got over his whole minor league system, he's over 10 Ks per nine, which is great, and then he's keeping his home runs in the yard. Those are great 2 things for fantasy value, which is going to up his card value. We've seen how that correlates itself pretty well. Plus, his ERA is fairly competitive as well. Jackson Ferris is going to take the route of a Dodger pitcher that's going forward. He's going to take the average guy. He's going to do the average Dodger prospect thing where he's going to rise in people's portfolios a lot faster than everybody else because he's just a Dodger. But then we also have this Travis Sikora guy who's actually has a better K per nine. He's younger than both of these guys. He's at A ball, and he has a lower home run to fly ball ratio and a lower ERA than both of these guys combined. So out of these pitchers, Travis Harrington and Rosario don't have cards, but Bowman autos worth Jackson Ferris and Travis Syorka both have Chrome autos that do have PSA 10 labeled cards out there. Jackson Ferris is coming out because he was in a trade that sent him to the Dodgers. His PSA 10 is currently valued at $74, and there is a whopping 39 of them out there. So if you want to get into Jackson Ferris because he's a Dodger pitcher, it's already pretty much at a premium price. So you're buying a pitcher Bowman Chrome Auto PSA 10 for $75. I feel like it could be a bit better than that. And I'm going to give you 2 reasons why I think, technically 3, why I think you could go with the hitters over the pitchers on this list. And I'll start that now. So we've talked about the pitchers, got them out of the way. So let's talk about the guy that I like the most on this list, and that is Welben Francisca. Welben Francisca is a guy that is 18 years old that has climbed to high A in Cleveland's system. He came out of the 2023 Bowman Chrome. So he was an international prospect in last year's Bowman Chrome. So not this one that just came out a month ago. We're talking about a year ago. So he falls perfectly into a buying opportunity for what we typically talk about because it's a year ago. And we talk about going back to the checklist you like and don't buying the most expensive product and going back 12 months and looking at the previous product. This guy falls right into that. He's 18 years old. He plays he's a position player, so he is a hitter, but he's also never gone under 139 WRC plus in the minors. So he's 41%. Right now, he's 41% better than the average player, and he has a 325 batting average with a startling K ratio under 30, and an isolated power is a little rough, needs to come up, but he's really, really young. He's 18 in A-ball, so that's really young for his league, and he's already making the top 100 list, not only for just baseball, but also in other places as well. So I like what Welben Francisca is got, but he does have a long runway. What I wanted to point out here is Francisca's Bowman Chrome Auto right now in a PSA 10. There is 246 Bowman Chrome Autos of his. They are going for $47 right now. You can get 2 PSA 10s of this for the same price that you can get a Jackson Ferris Bowman Chrome Auto, who's a pitcher in the Dodgers system. I would much rather have the young talented field player when his pop is almost 10% more than Jackson Ferris in terms of a PSA 10 value, but probably going to be a lot more relevant in the future. Now, do not press the buy button right away because this guy has an extremely long runway, which brings us to Demetrio Crisantes, the guy in the picture from the update. This guy's also young, but just a tad older at 19 years old when Welbin is 18 years old. He also was in the 2023 Bowman Chrome, so the exact same reasons why he's a good buy, but he's playing just a bit better than Welbin. He comes in with a 15.9% K ratio, a 333 average, extremely good, and he's 45% better than the average player rather than 41% of the average player. Now, what makes this guy better than Welbin is Welbin comes in with a .07 isolated power. Demetrio comes in with a .145, much more power related already, even at 19 years old. You could say that they are on the same path, but Cervantes or Crisantes is definitely a little better developed at this point in their career. So side by side, Demetrio is taking the cake. His PSA 10 autos right now are coming in at $59.60. So you can still get this guy $20 cheaper than you can get Jackson Ferris. And Jackson Ferris, honestly, is probably around the same length away from the majors as Crisantes. I know that sounds weird because he's 20 and he's in AA, and we could see him coming up, but I just think the Dodgers have so many options up there. Crisantes probably still has the same amount of hang time. Now, the last guy I want to talk about on this list is Moises Ballesteros. This guy actually has expensive cards, and he came out in the 2023 Bowman set as well. So this guy was already hyped because he was on the Cubs. He's a fast mover, and Ballesteros is 20 years old and has played at AAA. So this guy is a lot more advanced than the other two players, and he actually would be the buy that I would prefer out of this list because of how fast to the majors he is. And Turner, we've talked about that a lot, about runway being very, very important at this stage. This guy might end up being up in the majors in the next year, and so we like that. Being a 20-year-old at AAA, and at his last AA stop, he was 54% better than league average. So he's definitely right in the sweet spot. He's hitting 300. He's got his K rate around 15. He's got a 200% isolated power, incredible numbers there, and he's hitting the ball at a very regular rate. So out of all these six, obviously Moises is the most developed, but he's also the most expensive. And his I got good data on his Sapphire Auto. His Sapphire Auto in a PSA 10 is coming in at $175, which is about where I would expect it to be at this point of his life. But I would bet that we look back on that as a very undervalued card going forward. Any questions that you have, Turner? I know that was like just a fire hose of data on six prospects.
That Moises card, by the way, is at a Pop 11, if you all wanted to know that.
Yeah. So the Sapphire is definitely low pop in itself. The highest populated card actually on this list that I looked at was Welbin Francisco, which is unique to me because it's also the most cheapest. Or it's the most cheapest. That's not good English, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I do.
All right, so now that we've covered these six guys that are newcomers to the list, I would also wanted to talk about my process. We talk a lot about process in some of our premium content, and we talk about that being a way that we research and how we go forward with this. But I wanted to go back. If you guys are watching with us online, you'll see this, but I'm going to try to talk through this as best as I can. This is the MLB Top 100 list on Just Baseball. It's one of my favorite It's one of my favorite links that in the hobby. I'll drop it in the comments here. Let's see. See if that goes out. Yeah, it should go out. It's on the YouTube, and I'll try to drop this in the link as well. This is the list that I look from primarily. I think these guys are the smartest in the hobby. They're not controlled by any sort of media backers or anything, so they can kind of be really relevant. Not only are you getting the most clickbaity news, but you're like with MLB.com, they may not put rankings necessarily the way they're actually supposed to be because they're putting a hyped guy in front of a guy that's probably better than him. And Just Baseball does not have to do this thing. So when we look at the top 10, I'm excited about a couple of things, Turner. When you see these guys' names on this list, which ones are you excited about? I know that these are names that we've talked about.
Well, of course, first off, I'm excited about Roman Anthony. That's one that we've talked about before. Walker Jenkins and Dylan Cruz and Carson Williams are ones that you've also talked about before. So those are the first couple.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys on this list that we've talked about, and I actually think the only guy we haven't talked about on this list is maybe Jackson Jobe, but he's already a pitcher up in the Tigers pen. So we don't really have to account for him right now because he's already in the majors. And so unless we look at it from the formulas perspective, it doesn't really hit all of our markers that we use going forward. But Roman Anthony being the top buy right now is really awesome. But I want to we have been talking over and over and over this past 6 months about runway. Runway being so important. I mean, like I just sold a Jose De Paula card because he's well over a year out. And I wonder if actually he's on this list somewhere. Let's see. De Paula. Yeah, so he's 26th on this list right now, which is very high. I mean, very high on him in general. But his runway, actually, he's not going to be in the majors potentially until 2027. That's a long time from now. So I'm not excited about the potential of his call-up yet, even though I'm excited about him as a player. So what does that mean? So I start looking at this list, and I start looking at guys that have this number right here. The 2025 ETA are the guys that I'm really excited about going forward into this next season. So what I did is I pulled all this data and I put it in a spreadsheet, and this is what it looks like. I know this is just for some people, this just made somebody diarrhea. Like, this is just terrible to look at. But I want to put it this way for a reason. This is the same list, 1 through 100, and I have identified some of the places on this list by colors. Green players are all going to be called up potentially in 2025. Red players are all have already been called up in 2024. So these guys are guys I'm not interested in buying. Yellow players are players that are going to be called up potentially in 2026. So if they have a good winter or if they have a good spring, maybe that could be pushed up to 2025. So they're yellow and let's just pause on them. And anybody beyond 2026, there's guys in 2027 and guys in 2028 on this list. 2028, Turner. How old will you be in 2028?
I'll be 24 years old.
Yeah, see, that's a new stage of life for you.
I'll be out of college. Yeah,
when you're engaged, correct?
Yes. So I'll be what? So I'll be like 2.5, 3 years married. Right?
Like, you could conceivably have kids by that point, which is insane. Right. So we are predicting a guy on this top 100 matchup that could potentially not be in the major leagues until Turner has a Turner Jr. Like, that is insane. So we want to kind of keep it more close to the handle so that we can continue to roll our portfolios. So what does that mean? So we're going to push into what I do is I sort the data. I'm going to sort it from A to Z on this column, which is the year column. All these red players, just not interested in. I'm just going to go ahead and take all these and just delete them. Take them all out of the portfolio. We're going to delete all these columns. We're going to delete rows 1 through 24. Not interested in those guys. Then we come to the green. This is the money area. This is the area that I believe over the next couple of months I will be scouring, trying to figure out which of these guys are we going to make big investments in the offseason so that by the time March rolls around, we will be able to offload these and have another big March. Number 1 on the list, Roman Anthony. I sold out of a bunch of Roman Anthony cards earlier this year for the same reasons we talked about earlier, that he was over 12 months out. He is not over 12 months out anymore, and he will probably be in that Boston Red Sox dugout when it comes to April, May, June of this year. And so we will be investing in Roman Anthony. Carson Williams, same thing. Emmanuel Rodriguez, definitely a good guy to get into. I'm not super excited about him. Krim is incredibly excited about him. Look at this fourth guy, Samuel Basallo. Painter, he's a pitcher. Noah is a pitcher. Bubba Chandler is a pitcher. Travis Bazana, he was the number 1 pick from the draft this last year, and so he will actually be in draft probably in 2024. So he will be extremely expensive in December. So we probably won't be buying him. Chase DeLauder, an absolute stud of an outfielder. We will be buying it to him. Jefferson Cuero is a catcher, and Marcelo Meyer is a shortstop that has really come a long way, but was in the same class as Jordan Lawler. So that's just a couple of names on this list that we really like. One of these guys at the very bottom, we have Kyle Teal. We do like Matt Shaw as well. Owen Casey has extreme power. Chase Dolander could be a pitcher that we could be very excited about in the future. I will try to break down that in the future. But we also have guys down here like Brady House. We have Cole Young, who's also a cheap guy right now. Colson Montgomery is really good. Charlie Condon is also a new guy to the list. And then we do have Spencer Jones down here as well. We could get back into him as well. So I just wanted to break down some of these guys. Yellow is guys that could end up being a maybe for us. Guys like Xavier Isaac down here in yellow. We do like Xavier Isaac, but his runway is a little bit longer than everybody else's. Same as Walker Jenkins. He's a 2026 guy as well. He could move up to a 2025 guy, which, by the way, is next year, everyone. 2025 is not that far away anymore. But we also have Termar Johnson down there as well, and we've liked him in the past as well. So don't forget about these yellow guys. That's what I like to do in my process. We like to talk about process a little bit, and I definitely want to jump into a commercial break unless you have any questions here.
My only small question, just with the A is what's A plus?
So A plus would be high A ball. It's there's rookie A, there's low A, there's high A. It's actually 2 A balls are a distinction. They're short seasons, so there's same level, but there's like a little bit of a half step. So
Okay.
So A ball, like let's see if there's just a regular A ball in here. Yeah, here's one. So Travis Syorka is at A ball, but Luis Morales is at high A. So it's just a one little thing above an A ball.
Gotcha.
It's right under double A.
Cool.
And as we like to talk about, that double A jump is the first professional hitter's jump.
Right.
All right. Well, let's jump to our next commercial. That was an action-packed Bowman section. I hope you guys can get some of that. If you need to rewind and do that, feel free. We're going to go into Turner time after this next commercial that we talk about CGC.
Kendall, are these people ready to start grading their sports cards? CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today.
All right, Turner. We are going to move into what we like to call around here, and we will make an intro for at some point, from Turner time. So we are now in Turner time. I want to check the score real quick. All right, still 0-0. It's the 36th minute. FC Cincinnati is on the grind, and I'm excited about that. But what I'm more excited about is the gauntlet that Turner has for us today. And I have a hint. There's a small hint that I did not know any of these names were going to be on here, and we've already talked about several of these names. And
I was about to say I did not know if you did that on purpose or not.
I didn't. So. I actually didn't look at your list. I was too busy today to look at your list when you texted it to me, and I just looked at how many matchups you had, and I was like, yeah, I think we need one more. And then I was going full on into my study, and our studies aligned. That happened to Paul, me and Paul a lot. And it's also happened to me and you today, so I'm excited about what you have going forward. So talk to us about the matchups that you have and why you potentially like these matchups. Before you reveal who they are, why do you like them?
So I tried to do one of the main sports. So today we have a basketball, American football, baseball, and actual football. So actual football. But I wanted to do some unique matchups. I didn't want to do just the complete stars. Of course, whenever it comes to quote unquote actual football or soccer, these two up and coming studs, they're stars. But whenever it comes to the other matchups, it's guys that have seen the action, seen the spotlight, but they're not always going to be in the headlines. They're not always going to be the top contract, for example. They're not going to be your finals MVP, your Super Bowl MVP. But they've gotten more notoriety this year compared to the past couple years. So I wanted to break that down today with a couple good matchups here of guys that have seen stardom and then gone down and then possibly came back up. So,
all right, well, give us the first one here real quick. What we're going to do is we're going to do each of the 4 matchups, and then the winner of those 4 matchups, we will eventually narrow it down to 1. We will eventually come away with a gauntlet winner for today's episode.
Yeah. All right, so our first matchup, we've got 2020 Panini Prism LaMelo Ball Silver PSA 10 versus 2018 Panini Prism Trae Young Silver PSA 10. But whenever it comes to the prices here, I think I did my math wrong. It's going to be 2 of the Trae Youngs instead of 3. I had that in my notes. But so because there's a big price difference, we're deciding that we're going to have 2 Trae Young silver PSA 10s versus 1 LaMelo Ball silver PSA 10.
So we're going with the classic Prism Silver PSA 10, a absolute staple on the gauntlet, because this is a very easy card to replicate and a very easy card to match up. And it matches up well because a lot of players have them. And it's a non-autoed card, but it is a short print, quote unquote, card. And we like the silver variation in the PSA 10 of that is typically, outside of autographs, like the card for basketball players. So the silver prism for one, the Trae Young is out of a 2018. I don't particularly like the look of the 2018 prisms, but I won't let that try to determine what the value is here. But then you have LaMelo Ball down here, and he's got that 2020 Prism Silver, and that's just an iconic card for me personally, because that was right around the time we first started breaking new packs. That was right around the time I started getting back into looking for cards. It was right around the time Prism 2020 was in Walmart, and I was going to Walmart to rip the cards. And so 2020 Prism was the first like real set that I was like, wow, this hobby is so addicting. And so for me, even though that the price difference is totally different, I don't think I want 2 Trae Young cards. I think I would rather have 1 LaMelo card. One, because I think his PR team is much better. I think LaMelo's PR team is better than Trae Young, and I don't like what I've seen from the Hawks right out of the gate. And honestly, I think Trae Young kind of looks like a gremlin. So I know that there's like negative media around him being traded for Luka, and there's the Luka comparison, and of course he's going to come in second in that comparison. And then, you know, like the Hawks are bad, and they've got a bad franchise where they haven't been good in a long time. I just don't like, he's not from a premium school. Yes, I said that about Oklahoma University. Even though Buddy Hield and him and Blake Griffin were from there, they have basketball players, but it's not a premium school. Now, LaMelo Ball has his own set of problems, but I feel like the top end of LaMelo Ball could be a lot better, considering he's been injured for a lot of the last couple of years. But the last 90 days, we see LaMelo Ball is actually climbing, and that's probably because the Hornets have actually not played too bad out of the gate. They have covered their spread all of the games that they've played. I'm taking LaMelo.
I've got short points with this. The Hawks are atrocious, and LaMelo's been hooping. So that's why I'm going with LaMelo myself. LaMelo's basically like came back to life here and came back to the media. I want to say he hit like 8 threes the other night. So
wow.
he's been cooking. So
it's fun to see both of them in the NBA again.
Right. So I'm going with LaMelo.
By that I mean Lonzo.
Right. And both brothers doing strong.
So hit us with the second one.
All right. We've got 2 quarterbacks who it was a little difficult to find the comparison with cards here. I know. But we're going to go with two Jameis Winston 2015 Panini Prism Silver cards, PSA 10, versus 1 Sam Darnold 2018 Panini Prism Silver PSA 10. Both of these guys have came back to the light this year, and Crab Legs, I said it, not you. Crab Legs came back to the light, and he was balling against the Ravens this past week. And then Sam Darnold has been balling this year with the Vikings. So I thought that this would be a good matchup.
Yeah, it is a fun matchup. One's a 185 price point, and one's an 81. So is it just a straight up 1-for-1? Or are we doing 2-for-1?
2-for-1.
All right, so 2 Jameis cards for 1 Sam Darnold card. You know what I'm choosing, intern. This one's not that hard. Give me this cold picture with the Buccaneers logo and the cop in the background. Let's go. I'm all about getting a Jameis Winston Prism PSA 10 for $81. Give me 2 of them. I don't believe Sam Darnold's the real deal. I think they'll trade for Matthew Stafford. That's a hot take. I think they will trade for Matthew Stafford and get not only him but also Cooper Kupp in a massive deal where the Vikings try to make a electric deal.
My goodness, that is a crazy take, but I would be all for it. But no, I'm gonna go with your pick too. I'm gonna go with 2 Jameis cards because I know that this is besides the point, but that card is freaking awesome compared to the Darnold card. That 2018 Prism like Darnold card does not look that great, and then you just look at how beautiful that Jameis Winston card is.
That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, I'm going Jameis.
All
Winston.
vibes, no stats so far.
Oh my gosh!
All right,
LaMelo Ball had stats.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He's been.
We just hated massively on the 2018 Prism back-to-back. So third matchup, who is it going to be?
I didn't even think about that. All right, we've got our baseball prospects that you've talked about. We've got 2023 of Bowman Chrome first of Roman Anthony, PSA 10, versus 2 of Samuel Basallo's first of 2023 Bowman Chrome Auto, PSA 10.
This, my friend, is an electric matchup. You're taking number 1 in the Just Baseball Top 100 against the number 8 in the Baseball Top 100. This is a gigantic matchup that if you look at the last 90 days on these guys were the equivalent value 90 days ago. So you could get both of these guys around $215 to $230, and now Roman Anthony is at $400 and Basallo's at $150. With that being said, I think that Basallo is a catcher, or I know that Basallo is a catcher and Anthony is an outfielder. I think that could be playing into the value. Plus, what we talked about the prospect fatigue happening in Baltimore over the last couple of. I think we mentioned this about 2 weeks ago. Basallo might fall into some prospect fatigue as well, and I could see maybe him getting traded in the offseason for a pitcher because they really need help pitching. If that's the case, I think I would rather have Basallo in this case because you could get 2 Basallos for the 2 Basallos and change for the price of 1 Roman Anthony. Give me 2 Basallos because they're only ranked 7 positions apart. And as we talked about a second ago, they're both getting called up in 2025 probably. And so I like the runway of 2 cards rather than 1 card.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the same thing because I feel like there's just going to be a dramatic increase in price with the Basallo compared to the Roman Anthony. Both cards are definitely going to increase in value whenever they get called up. But that Samuel Basallo card was going for like $100 to $200 more last summer, and he wasn't getting called up. So the fact that it's at 153 and the PSA 9 was a 153 like this past summer, shows that there is going to be a huge increase in this card once he gets called up.
Yep. Yeah, July 2024, just like what he's referencing, this card was at $260. So now that the fact that this is down by 100 extra bucks, give me an extra one just for the extra 100 coming down. I love it. Great matchup. We're going to take Basallo on to the next round. All right, 4th matchup.
All right, we've got 2 young studs here. We've got 2020 Topps Chrome UEFA Champions League Jude Bellingham Refractor PSA 10 versus 2023 Topps Chrome UEFA Club Competitions Lamine Yamal Refractor PSA 10.
This is insane, bro. It was like you were reading my mail of exactly what we were going to talk about today. We've mentioned almost every player on this gauntlet, and maybe it's just because I'm just too dang predictable. But what we like to say here is we like to talk about hype. Jude Bellingham and Lamine Yamal have both had the hype. Who is going to have the hype in the future? I think this year Real Madrid probably has more to fight for, but I don't know if you know this, but Barcelona, the team that Yamal is on, is having some very, very bad financial issues. They might actually be forced to sell Lamine Yamal to get out of some incredible debt issues. That FIFA might make them sell some of their most valuable assets to get out of their financial problems from when they had Messi. If that is the case, Yamal could be the most high-profile target even more high profile than Mbappe because this kid is younger and arguably just as good right now, which is crazy to say. So I would probably take Yamal because they're a dollar difference, and I don't think we've seen Yamal's heyday. I don't think we've seen Jude's heyday either, but I already know he's on a team that has the most market share of any team in soccer, and I know we've seen him already win big Champions Leagues and stuff like this. I think the future is brighter for Yamal than it is for Bellingham, and I think Spain is more competitive than England in the next couple of years in international realm as well. I'm taking Yamal.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you with that. And I, of course, didn't really know about the FC Barcelona controversy with all that. So I mean that helps my case even more with choosing Yamal. But besides that too, Yamal is younger. Spain is better than England. That's a lot of the stuff that I was going to say. So great minds think alike. We've been rocking it this whole podcast like that.
All right, man. So we've got LaMelo Ball. Now I'm going to take you through this gauntlet. So this is the gauntlet you're on right now. You've got one LaMelo Ball PSA 10 silver, and you have to sell these over the next 30 days. That's the caveat.
30 days.
The next 30 days, you have to sell these. It is this card and this card. You are going to get 4 of these or one of these. So you've got one LaMelo Ball Prism Silver 2020 or 4 Jameis Winston Silver Prism PSA 10s.
All right. If I've got 30 days, I need to see who the Browns play.
Okay.
Let me see. All right. Okay. So, in 30. All right. Yeah, that just helped my point. I'm going to go with Jameis Winston because his prices are already going up a little bit with him going off against the Ravens. But their next couple games are against the Chargers, Saints, and even Steelers. They could go 2-1 right there. Or even just Justin Herbert is a little banged up, so he could ride a 2-win streak here. And those cards, what's that, $81? Those cards, what'd you say? You give me 4 of them?
I'd give you 4 of them, yeah.
So they could go up about $20, $25 each, and I'm profiting $100. And LaMelo could average 30 points, and it can go up only $50 or something like that. The profit will be there for the Jameis Winston cards.
So you're taking the risky Jameis Winston card.
I'm going to risk it all.
All right, risking it all on Jameis Winston. So Jameis Winston goes to the next round against Samuel Basallo. You're going to get the same thing. You're going to get 3 Jameis's or 1 Samuel Basallo card.
And I have 30 days with this one?
This one you also have 30 days.
Okay. So is Basallo in AA or AAA right now? You said triple?
Let's check. I believe it's AA. He is in AA.
Okay. And because I'm not as educated with baseball, so
sure, you can ask questions.
Is there with their AA season, is it wrapping up or
it's over? Yeah, so Arizona Fall League is on right now, but I don't believe he's actually playing in the Fall League.
Okay.
So the next time he would see action would be March. So this is probably where the value is going to sit for this card.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep Jameis there too because there's no big jump with Basallo.
All right,
my next question.
Either get Jameis Winston or Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, my question with Yamal is what. So first off, with him being sold, what's the runway with that? When do you think that would be?
Probably the summertime.
Okay. What about competitions? Do they have a tournament coming up, or do they?
They are both currently playing. So both of these guys are in season. You could say midseason, actually. And they're both on competitive teams, except for Barcelona would be in a more competitive. Obviously, that's a bigger market, and they just had the biggest matchup of the year, or one of the biggest matchups for the year for them, and they beat Real Madrid 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
They also have Champions League. They also have Copa del Rey and some other things. And he just won the Newcomer of the Year award today.
With that, like you just talked about it all. I'm going to go with Yamal because you just talked about like Champions League and other like tournaments that are going to be pretty big for Yamal, and he's one of, if not the face of Barcelona right now. And so I see with his name being mentioned more in the media with just like overall, because whenever you win an award like that, you know, people are going to be looking your name up constantly, and sports card investors are going to be, if they somehow were not paying attention, they're going to be paying attention now. And so that's why I'm going to go with Yamal with that.
All right, man. So I like that. I think Jameis probably would have left my gauntlet a little earlier. Probably wouldn't have got past LaMelo, but Lamine Yamal is definitely a guy that I'm highly invested in. I have some cards at PSA. Let's jump to our last commercial break real quick, and then we're going to come back for a quick segment, and then we'll sign off.
Yo, Lefty, we use a lot of data, don't we? Well, I just want everyone to know that they can get the same data we get by signing up at marketmoversapp.com. Sign up at marketmoversapp.com today, but use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% after a free 14-day trial. That's marketmoversapp.com, promo code NOOFFSEASON.
All right, Turner. This is a Lefty Cards exclusive. This is a big deal. This is a Lefty Cards exclusive. I have just actually reached out today to Aram Layton, who is in charge of the top 100, the top 100 prospect article at justbaseball.com that we've just talked about. We've just talked about their newest 6 to the list, and we've talked about their runways. So I reached out to him earlier today, and I said, can I get a quote from you tonight for my podcast? And the question is, which prospects are you excited about from 2024 Bowman draft that could potentially have the shortest runway to the majors? So this is something that would have fallen straight in line with what we talked about today. And right before the bell on this podcast, he messages me back, and he said, oh, this is a great question. And then he said, I'm not sure if they have the checklist out yet, but obviously I'm a huge fan of Cam Smith, and he has already reached AA. Christian Moore will probably get there the quickest. I also think Nick Kurtz will be too, but the JJ Weatherholt is still my favorite player in the class. Aram Layton is big on Cam Smith, Christian Moore, Nick Kurtz, and JJ Weatherholt. We will try to get some data from these guys here in the future, but I wanted to get that just before the bell ends here.
Boom.
Thanks for being with us on Lefty Cards, and I've enjoyed being with you. Turner, you're the man. We are signing off. Cue the outro video. We'll see you later. Peace.
Lefty, great work on today's show. Thanks for supporting Lefty Cards, part of the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network. Get a free 30-day trial today at NoOffSeason.com to check out our formula-based sports card rankings to help you make money flipping sports cards. Subscribe to Lefty Cards on YouTube and follow us on socials by visiting leftycards.com.